In partnership with National Affordable Housing and Housing Australia, this development will deliver 85 1, 2 and 3 bedroom apartments, complemented by enhanced public spaces, and a strong focus on sustainable urban design. This project is designed to provide well-located, affordable homes for essential workers and local families. Hallmark uses BuildPass software. All workers are required to scan in via QR code daily. Alternately, you can set the app to auto-sign on if you choose. The BuildPass app is also used for inductions, SWIMS uploads, various permits, site alerts and more.
The project evacuation plan is displayed around site. Please make yourself aware of the emergency assembly point and the nearest exits to where you're working. If you hear the emergency alarm, move immediately to the evacuation point. The names and numbers of Hallmark emergency and first aid contacts are displayed on site. If you need first aid, you can attend the first aid room, call for attention using the nurse call system, or call a Hallmark first aider on their mobile number.
The default minimum personal protective equipment is hard hats, high-visibility clothing or vests, and steel-capped safety boots. Other personal protective equipment must be worn to meet your SWIMS and task requirements. This might include hearing protection, safety glasses and gloves. Workers are encouraged to follow the SunSmart, slip, slop, slap, seek and slide messaging. Singlets are not to be worn on site. Sunscreen is provided at the site amenities and at various other points.
Electrical is always considered high-risk construction work. Workers must take all the appropriate precautions. All leads must be raised and away from foot traffic. All tools, appliances, and equipment must be tagged 3 monthly. And any equipment with an RCD, such as portable generators and EWP with electrical outlets, need to be tagged monthly. Always look for overhead power. And keep clear. Before commencing any excavation, an excavation permit must be sought from the site manager. The site manager will assess dial before you digs and construction drawings before granting a permit. All trenches and excavations over 1 meter must be benched, batted or shored. All excavations and penetrations must be protected by covers, physical barriers, or visual barriers at a distance of 2 meters back.
Any scaffold over 4 meters high, or which is considered complex, must be erected by a ticketed scaffolder. Come with design drawings. Have a handover certificate supplied and signed off by an intermediate or advanced scaffolder. Have a scaff tag attached and be re-inspected monthly. Elevated work platforms. All work from scissor or boom lifts must be risk assessed in a safe work method statement. All boom lift operators must hold a WorkSafe WP ticket. All scissor lift operators must hold a verification of competency. This is most commonly known as a yellow card.
Only platform ladders are to be used on Hallmark sites. Step ladders are not to be used. Extension ladders may be approved for short-term access reasons. However, this must be risk assessed and approved by Hallmark site management. Plant and equipment. All plant used on site must be inducted. This can be done prior to delivery to site in BuildPass. The plant induction process requires evidence of service history, a plant risk assessment, an operating manual and an operator logbook. All plant must undergo pre-start safety checks each day before use. Plant operators must hold the appropriate license or verification of competency. Plant operators must not use handheld electronic devices whilst in control of plant.
In addition to documentation required of all plant, cranes must also provide lift plans, ground assessments, a lifting equipment register, and display a green sticker. Any work process that involves a naked flame or spark must be supported by a hot works permit. You must request a hot works permit from the Hallmark site manager and meet the conditions therein. These conditions may include removal of combustibles, a fire extinguisher, a spotter, and appropriate training. Hot works cannot take place on days of total fire ban.
An excavation permit must be sought at all times. And remember, excavation work is not defined by a particular depth. The permit will determine the presence or otherwise of services, the adoption of risk controls, ground conditions, and will also take scheduling into account. Concrete cutting and coring. Prior to any concrete cutting, coring or grinding works, a permit must be granted by the site manager. This permit will establish the presence, or otherwise of services, and structural elements. The contractor will then need to establish safe work systems surrounding crystalline silica, spotters, manual handling and all other risks identified in their SWMS.
Psychosocial hazards on construction sites are work-related factors in how work is designed or managed that can increase stress and lead to psychological or physical harm. Examples include high job demands, poor support, bullying, harassment, violence, fatigue and isolated work conditions. Employers must identify and control these hazards to protect worker health, safety and well-being. If you have any concerns, speak up.
Manual handling is a leading cause of injury in construction. Lifting, carrying, or moving materials incorrectly can strain muscles, damage joints and lead to long-term injuries. Plan the lift, use mechanical aids where possible, and work within your limits to reduce the risk.
Site amenities are provided for your comfort and convenience. Please play your part in helping to keep these amenities in good order and leave them clean and tidy for the next person. Smoking is only permitted in designated areas. Smoking is not allowed in or adjacent to site amenities. Smoking is not allowed in any enclosed area. These restrictions apply equally to vaping and e-cigarettes.
While it's understood that mobile phones are important for communication, and sometimes vital for safety, it's also important that workers are not distracted when working and moving around site. Please, stay alert. Parking on site is not allowed. Exception can only be granted by the Hallmark site manager for essential purposes. Please note that Banyule City Council restricts commercial construction vehicle parking on residential streets.
Audio headphones and earpieces are not to be used on site. Only fit-for-purpose hearing protection is to be used. Deliveries must be coordinated with Hallmark site management. Crane or forklift assistance must be pre-arranged.
Each subcontractor and worker on site is required to make and keep their work area clean, safe and tidy. This shows respect to everyone on site.
Any workplace issues or disputes must be raised as soon as possible with your supervisor or the Hallmark site manager. We are committed to resolving issues fairly, promptly, and in line with Victorian workplace laws and the Fair Work Act. If a matter cannot be resolved on site, it may be escalated through formal company procedures or to an appropriate external authority. Hallmark is committed to complying with all relevant acts, regulations, compliance codes, and industry standards, and we expect the same of all workers on site.
Thank you for your time. And please, go home safe.